Guys, welcome back to another video from me. So this time it's again about the distant mountain, and this time it's going to focus a little bit more on my review, my experience of using it and experimenting with it over the past week or so. Actually, probably a little bit over a week then, by the time this video release, or by the time I'm recording this video. It's over a week of me using it. And I just want to start with comfort. And Zeos was right, you should bend them. You should make them more angled. But unlike Zeos, you don't really need to grab like pliers or vice grips. So to bend it, all you really have to do is just hold the driver securely and just twist it this way. So effectively, you're bending kind of the entire headband and the drivers, so it angles more like this. So it like kind of form to the contour, to the shape or angle of your ears, instead of just being flat. Because when it's just flat, like straight upright like that, the back of the ear pad just presses onto the back of your ear, or the top. There's this cartilage there, and it press on it and it clamps on it, and your ear becomes physically sore after around 2 hours of use. But right now, I have used these things for like 3 to 4 hours at a time. Of course, not as comfortable as like complete like over ears, but it's much better. Like I'm not physically sore, or I don't want to take it off like I did before. So small changes like these makes a pretty big difference in comfort and your enjoyment of these headphones. And I don't think sound quality have changed much from angling it just a little bit more forward, maybe a little bit. It's not too noticeable. I've also found another interesting way to make these more comfortable is just by grabbing a larger pair of ear pads. So you essentially making these over ears by just doing this. Kind of just like hold on to it, like so it kind of clamps onto your head. While you do lose out some bass just because it's farther away from your ear, but because the membrane or fabric here is flexible, it kind of just presses still relatively closer to you, closer than normal open back or closed back headphone drivers. The distance here is closer than those headphones, and you can EQ some bass back in, but you lose the sub bass, and upper bass is still kind of there. But overall, it affects the sounds to an extent where it's different, and a lot of the bass just kind of went away. Next thing I want to talk about the sound or the hardware stuff. It's the dongle it came with, or you optionally came with. It's the RZ200M dongle, and supposedly this thing have the ALC 5686 chip, and built because I see on their website it says another headphone have the same dongle and it says ALC 5686 chip. But when I plug it into my desktop, it have the CX31993 chip, which according to my research, they sound close enough. There are differences, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. These are like what, $10 dongle. Like even my Apple dongle, like it sounds a little different than these ones. But at the same time, the difference is not so like drastically one's garbage or one's not. Like one's like super great. They're all like pretty much right on the same level, and it's really just preference on the shape or the slightly different sound signature. It doesn't matter a whole lot in here. Like they all sound more or less the same. Apparently I got the CX31993 chip dongle is because at this batch they just kind of ran out of the ALC 5686 chip, so they just shipped it with the CX chip instead. So I would say just search up yourself, right? The ALC chip and the CX chip, they're not like drastically super different, and they're still gonna be good either way. However, I do have a complaint about the headphone itself, the MMCX connector, because like everybody knows, they are a pain in the ass to plug in and unplug. And at first time, like you have to like really force it in. And right now, for the past week, I have not unplugged these cables at all, just because they're so hard to unplug and unplug. And I just been it's basically attached to the headphone at this point. And next up, it's the sound, right? So everybody know this thing have a huge 2.5 kHz mountain peak that makes things sound very shouty, very honky and sharp. And the simple fixes just lowered the 2.5 kHz down by -8 dBs. I did it at the Q value of 2 or the default 1.4 in equalizer APO, and it sounds fine. Like sounds good after that adjustment. And for me personally, I prefer adding a 50 Hz low shelf filter and a plus 4 to 5 dB depending on your preference, and just give it some extra rumble and extra sub bass that, because of it being on here, it just kind of lacks, and it sounds great. And with the extra bass, it becomes very satisfying. And talking more about EQ, if you're using Spotify, which apparently Spotify now have better codecs or higher quality sound, because there's like a very high quality option now with like FLAC or like just higher bitrate quality than their normal sound stuff, which is good because their EQ just happens to have the right frequency bands to fix these headphones. They have a 60 hertz band to adjust, which at the sub bass kind of like my 50 hertz adjustment, and they have a 2.4 kHz adjustment band, which basically fixes the 2.5 kHz peak because you just lower that, and because I think it's a rather wide adjustment, it also lowers that 2.5 kHz mountain, and it just becomes a very good and listenable headphones. And with EQ, it sounds really good. Though because I'm in the US, I don't think Spotify unlocked that high quality codec or FLAC feature yet on in the US. So I'm still looking forward to test that and see how it's gonna go. Currently, I'm using Tidal, but just once after you EQ these, they sound phenomenal. I was watching a YouTube video. It's not even on like Tidal or anything high quality. Just a YouTube video of from Drameo. I just discovered this like last week. It's a Billie Jean's performance by Michael Jackson's drummer Jonathan Moffett. And the kick drums and the snare, it just sounds so good. Like just because it got that extra bass and the honkiness have been removed, this thing sounds amazing. And then of course Hotel California, the MTV Live 1994, I believe, version of it. It sounds so good. Like the bass, the drums, the guitar, and like they're so satisfying. They're so good. And then of course, like the crowd cheering and the guitar, the strings, you can just hear it. It's like tickling your ears, and it's really interesting sound, because if I listen to my High Vibe and Deva, like this sounds more spacious, so it sounds a little bit far away. Even I expect it sounds intimate, but doesn't have this like really like plucked quality to it. Like the strings, like the resolution, I guess, of the strings, it's just like satisfying. Like it tickles your ears. Like it's in a good way. So I like it after EQ a lot. And beyond EQ, I have tried to physically modify these headphones to fix the 2.5 kHz peak. But at the end, I have not able to fix it, because at first I tried to see these holes here. At first I was trying to cover all of them up and see what's happening, and it kind of just made it worse. It basically removed all the bass from these headphones, and then it just becomes like kind of dry and like vintage sounding at that point, and it just sucks. So as I remove it, it becomes closer and closer to stock, and the bass and the weirdness just kind of went away. Well, as close to stock as possible. So following that logic, if we just drill more holes onto it, like on this side as well, I think you can pretty much physically fix and or tune the 2.5k hertz away. Like if you make the back more open and more holes inside, like that resonance should go away, or like not even resonance, it's just a peak. All right, that 2.5k hertz would have gone away. So in theory, if they make like a slightly larger on-ear or a over-ear open-back headphone with these drivers, I think it would sound quite good. Like if they properly tune it, and that 2.5k hertz mountain would have gone way down, and it would be a fairly good sounding headphone. And maybe if they make like a 50mm version of this driver, so that. But honestly, I think it sounds good. Like if after EQ, or if they can tune it correctly, like because like the vision, the capability is there. It responds to EQ very well. Like adding bass doesn't distort it or anything. It sounds good. So yes, long term, the distant mountain have some. It's a quirky headphone. It's an interesting headphone. Just like the way it looks, right? It looks interesting. It's not your run of the mill like HD's 599. It's kind of boring, you know. But these are quirky, interesting headphone. More focused on lifestyle because it looks pretty. It looks great. And it really needs EQ, but after EQ, it fixes and sounds surprisingly fun and satisfying. And for me, I enjoyed it, and that's pretty much it for today. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I want to say I totally forgot something in the main video, which is me building my version of the Project Omega. So really cool of DMS to have it as an open source project so everybody can use it. At the moment, I have actually built 2 driver chassis and the caps. Not built, I printed the caps and the driver chassis. I have already installed a driver in one and the connectors. I've also bought a headband for it, but right now I'm building like a slightly more budget version with just parts or random headphone I have just kind of laying around. And I'm curious, do you guys want to see a video of a completed build, or just like me reviewing the complete build and kind of talking about my build process, or do you guys want an actual video of me assembling one of the ear cups? Because I have assembled this one, and it's definitely an interesting experience. Because considering I'm not doing exactly what DMS is doing, and I think it's gonna be interesting to like a more budget or a even more DIY version of the Project Omega. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please leave it in the comments, or if I'm posting in the Reddit, leave it in the Reddit comment section as well. See like how do you guys want the video to be for like the next one about the Project Omega, because that's definitely gonna be my next video, or is the next upcoming videos. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.